In this module, we're going to discuss specializing in order to scale and ultimately to sell. So if you want to build a scalable and ultimately a sellable business, you need to simplify and specialize. This is especially important for service-based businesses. So let's start off with some examples. The generalist electrician versus the specialist electrician. So the generalist electrician provides lots of different services such as rewiring, solar panels, LED lighting, first fixing, second fixing, testing, and so on, to lots of different types of customers: homeowners, landlords, factories, farmyards, the list goes on. And they are operating with a competitive based pricing model. So as a result of this, the business is difficult to manage because every job is different. It requires having a team of specialists in many different areas, which drives up costs. It's hard to establish structure. Everything falls back on the owner to organize and to fix, and it's not a sellable asset. Whereas the specialist electrician, they make the decision to A, analyze what they are best at, what is most profitable, what service can be productized, and they are focused on providing one main service. So that might be solar panel supply and fit to one type of customer, which might be homeowners, specifically homeowners who live in certain geographical areas and meet certain criteria, such as working professionals who not only need this, but can actually afford this and are happy to pay a higher price to a reputable company that they feel that they can trust. And the quality of your marketing material, both online and offline, will determine the type of customers that you attract. They creatively productized the service with a clever title such as Home Solar Energy Saver Bundle, okay? And they introduce a value-based pricing system where they are selling the Home Solar Energy Saver Bundle for a fixed rate of $35,000, supply and fit, rather than having to spend hours each week creating customized quotations for each new customer, detailing out the billable hours and the cost of materials and so on. As a result of this, their marketing campaigns are stronger, which is going to help build out a more reliable and predictable machine for driving in new business, which is an essential element that a future buyer will look for when it comes to selling your business. Their sales process is more simplified and streamlined. Their profit margins are higher and more predictable. The business is far easier to manage because every job is quite similar. And so the processes can be documented and systemized a lot easier. It does not require a team of specialists due to the simplified nature of the offering of the services being provided because they've been productized. This means that in many cases, C players can follow well-documented systems and processes to produce A-grade results, which in turn results in lower costs. Everything is more organized. The business runs like clockwork and it is a sellable asset. Let's take another example. The generalist vehicle detailer, so car valeting company, car detailing company, typically provides a lot of different services. So car wash, mini valet, full valet, ceramic coatings, tar removal, clay bar, paint correction, cut and polish, interior steam cleaning, leather refurb, headlight restoration, and the list just goes on and on. And they provide all of these different services to lots and lots of different types of customers. And one day they might be detailing a Ferrari or putting ceramic coatings onto it. The next day they might be just be hoovering out and doing a mini valet for a mother who has a lot of kids. The next day they might be cleaning a fleet of vans for a business. The following day they may be detailing a truck. And every day is different, every project is different, and every customer is different. And as well as this, they are operating with a competitive based pricing strategy. As a result, the business is difficult to manage because every job is different. It requires having a team of specialists in many different areas, which drives up costs. It's hard to establish structure. Everything falls back on the owner to organize again, and it's not a sellable asset. Now let's flip over to the specialist vehicle detailer. They have made the decision to A, analyze what they're best at, B, what is most profitable, and C, what service can be productized. They are focused on providing one main service. Let's say, for example, they choose ceramic coatings because number one, they're really good at it. Number two, it's highly profitable and they can apply a value-based pricing model to it. And number three, it's a service that can be productized. And what I mean by productizing a business is systemizing the services into a repeatable process. So step one, step two, step three, step four, step five, that you document the entire process and it's repeatable. And in most cases, you can hire non-specialist team members, so C players, that will produce an A-grade outcome or result. So they choose ceramic coatings and then they decide to focus on serving only one avatar, one niche in the market, one type of customer. Let's say they choose supercar owners, and maybe you could also throw in car enthusiasts on top of that as well. So by nature, this target demographic can clearly afford such services. If they can afford to buy supercars, they can afford to pay top dollar to maintain it and put on ceramic coatings and ballot it and all that sort of jazz, okay? So not only can they afford it, but they will be happy to pay a higher price to a trusted provider. And too often, I see people that are trying to sell a high ticket offer to a target demographic who simply cannot afford their services or their product, regardless of how good of a fit it might be or how badly that they need it. So you need to make sure that your offer and your pricing is a good fit for your target market. An extreme example would be trying to sell a ceramic coating service to students who can barely afford the car, and you're trying to sell them a 5,000 product to put ceramic coating. It's not product market fit. So in this circumstance, the vehicle detailer has done their little bit of homework, they've done their research, and they've found product market fit for their productized service. So then they have creatively productized the service with a clever title. So I do recommend packaging up your new productized service with a clever title, because it's going to benefit the marketing and so much else. So they might call it the Ceramic Pro 5, and the tagline could be 5-year guaranteed paint protection for high-end luxury vehicles. And then they introduce a value-based pricing model. So they're selling this Ceramic Pro 5 product for a fixed amount of $5,000, including materials and labor and the time and everything that goes into it. So rather than having to spend hours each week creating customized quotations for each new customer, detailing the billable hours and the cost of materials and so on, it's much more simplified by having this one productized offer in place. They build out their entire marketing campaigns around this one offering and establish a reputation within the supercar and car enthusiast networks for being the best, for being number one, the go-to people for this specific thing. And another point to touch on here, guys, is to build the brand identity. So let's say the car detailer here, his name is John Doe. You don't necessarily want to build up a reputation based on you, where John Doe is the go-to guy for this Ceramic Pro 5. You want to build it up so that JD Enterprises or JD Valeting or JD Detailing is the go-to company to get this done. Because if you build the brand around your personal brand and you try to sell the business, you're not going to get as much for it, because so much of it depends on your name and your personal reputation. So you want to build the business to have its own brand identity. And what John Doe might do in this case is he might even niche down further to specialize only in working with certain brands of vehicles. So Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, and so on. And again, that's just going deeper down into a market of not only car enthusiasts who are happy to spend a lot of money on their car, but they have that money and they will happily pay for convenience and quality of service. They're not always just looking for the best price. And this principle applies across the board. Maybe you're a bathroom company, maybe you're a digital marketing company. By targeting the right demographic, the right type of customer who can afford your services, oftentimes they are not going to be looking for the cheapest price. They're going to be looking for quality of service, quality of customer support, someone who could do the job without any hassle, the path of least resistance. Okay, people with money tend to prioritize convenience. So you can charge them more, but your service has to be better. Maybe you produce that result faster. Maybe the customer support, you make them feel like a king or a queen because your service is so good. So the goal here really is to over deliver. So again, by niching down on not just what you serve, but also on who you're serving it to, your marketing campaigns are going to be a lot stronger. So it's going to help to build out a reliable and predictable machine for driving in new business, which is an essential element that a buyer will look for when it comes to selling your business. Your sales process can easily be streamlined. Profit margins are going to be much higher and more predictable. The business will be far easier to manage because, again, every job is similar. Every process is documented, structured, and repeatable. It's all documented and systemized. It does not require a team of specialists to provide the service due to having great SOPs, documents, and processes and KPIs in place, meaning C players can produce A-grade results, making everything more organized and making the business sellable. So let's look at one last example here. So let's take the generalist digital marketing agency owner. And I personally have a lot of experience in this because my first business was a generalist digital marketing agency. So the generalist will provide a lot of different services again. So it might be website development, SEO, Google ads, meta ads, YouTube ads, TikTok ads, content creation, content management, graphic design, copywriting. And they are providing all of these services to all different types of customers: tradesmen, furniture stores, e-commerce brands, accountants, beauty salons. The list goes on. And they are operating with a competitive-based pricing strategy. As a result of this, the business is difficult to run, difficult to manage, difficult to streamline because it requires a diverse team of specialists, which drives up costs. It's hard to manage, it's hard to systemize, it's hard to simplify, it's hard to establish structure, and everything typically falls back on the owner to fix, and it's not a sellable asset. Flip it over and we've got the specialist digital marketing agency owner. So they've made the decision to go through the 3 steps of analyzing what they are best at, what is most profitable, and what service can be productized. They're focused on providing one main service. In this example, let's say they choose email marketing to one type of customer. For the sake of this example, let's say they choose fashion e-commerce brands, okay? and they filter out their customer base by only dealing with well-established fashion brands who are already doing at least $50,000 per month with an existing e-commerce store, but they're looking to grow to the next level and cross that 100K per month mark. So by really refining your avatar and who it is that you want to attract, you'll be generating a higher quality lead. And in some cases, you will pay more for that, but you should be happy to pay a higher price for a higher quality lead. And we'll talk about cost per leads and cost per sale and cost per customer and lifetime value in a separate module. But ultimately, by doing this, you're only speaking with people who are genuinely interested in your service and can actually afford your services, okay? They have creatively productized the service with a clever title such as Six-Figure E-Fashion Store. Grow your fashion e-commerce brand to $100,000 per month and beyond within 90 days with a proven email marketing plugin. So again, this is just an on-the-spot random example, but it is a fantastic idea to put clever names and package up your productized service so that it sounds more like a product, okay? And with products, typically, people pay up front. With services, on the other hand, people typically pay after it's done, or they might pay a small amount up front and the rest when it's done. But in order to establish a positive cash flow cycle, productizing your service, putting a clever name, packaging it up as a product, you can generally get paid upfront. So they might be selling this six-figure e-fashion store for a fixed amount, say of $5,000 per month as a done-for-you service, rather than having to spend hours each week creating customized quotations for each new customer, detailing the billable hours and so on. So the Specialized agency, they build their entire marketing campaigns around this one offering and establish a reputation within the online fashion store networks for being the best, the go-to, the number one for this specific thing, email marketing for e-commerce brands doing 50K that want to get past 100K. And taking that example of the supercar or luxury car or car enthusiast networks, they always have meetups and they've got groups and people talk, okay? And people are going to refer you over to their friends and their family, and that's going to help you grow exponentially for a lot less cost as well. So your marketing campaigns are going to be stronger, helping you to build out that reliable and predictable machine for driving in new business, which is an essential element for new buyers. The sales process is going to be more streamlined. Profit margins are going to be much higher and more predictable. The business will be far easier to manage because every job is similar and processes are easier to document and systemize. And especially in the case, say for this example, a digital marketing agency where it's very much an online-based service, they will be able to leverage a lot of different AI tools, which will play a major role in automating certain processes and maybe even replacing some team members. So it will dramatically reduce costs while improving the overall value that the customer receives and the efficiency of operations. So as an exercise for you, take some time right now to ask yourself the following 3 questions. Question number 1, what do you do best? So if you do have a service business, and currently you're providing a lot of different types of services or you're working with a lot of different types of customers, what is the one thing that you or your team or your business does best? Secondly, what is your most profitable work? And lastly, what service can you productize and implement a value-based pricing structure? For some of you, it's going to be completely clear. You're going to know exactly what that is and you'll have it just like that. For others, it might be a little bit more difficult. You'll have to sit down, get a pen and paper out, and maybe go through this a few times to really figure out what it's going to be. So deciding on just one service and productizing it, it might mean that you have to restructure your business a little bit, or a lot even. You may have to let some people go or take on some new people. Oftentimes, you might end up letting go of expensive and highly qualified A players because you just don't need them anymore based on this new direction that you're going with the business. Or maybe they're not happy with the new direction of the business and they feel like they're too qualified to be following this new systemized approach and they deserve to have more creative freedom to do things their way or whatever it might be. So you might replace them with cheaper C players, as we call them, who are happy and willing to follow a set process and produce A-grade results, okay? On the other hand, it could be the complete opposite. You might have to let go of some C players who are just dead weight within your company right now and instead build out a smaller team but a more effective team of A players, of specialists. And it can be hard saying no to work that comes your way when it's not aligned with your new productized offer, especially when you're in that transition period and trying to shift from a generalist to a specialist. In the same way that it can be difficult to embrace delegation as somebody who's just so used to doing everything themselves and maybe has a little bit of fear of letting go. But if you want to grow, you have to let go, okay? And if you want to scale and sell, you have to specialize and simplify. And it is easy to think, oh, sure, I'll just take this one job on. It's worth 100 grand to the company. It'll keep everybody busy for a while and it'll help with Christmas coming up. The extra money will be handy. There's always going to be excuses and reasons why you shouldn't change what you're doing and why you shouldn't evolve. And that's where most people get stuck, whether it's with delegation or whether it's with productizing a service. They just don't do it because they're stuck in their ways. And it's the fear that holds them back. And there's always going to be that voice inside your head that'll convince you, yeah, no, it's okay. We'll just do it my way. I'll go against the grain. I won't follow the process. And ultimately what happens 5-10 years down the line, they're still stuck in the same place. They don't have a sellable business. They're still trying to run a glorified job, a business that depends on them. This way of thinking is fine if you just want to stay busy and you're happy with things staying the same, but that's not why you're here. That's not why you're part of this program. That's not why you signed up for this. You're trying to move away from a business that's chaotic and overwhelming and disorganized and impossible to scale or sell. But if you want to build a scalable, sellable business, you need to stay focused and keep the main thing the main thing. It's like urinating in your pants. It feels nice and warm initially, but it won't last, and soon you're going to regret it, okay? So stick to the plan. Stay focused. Stop saying yes to everything. Get comfortable saying no in the same way that you have to get comfortable letting go with delegation. You need to focus on, firstly, building a predictable customer acquisition machine, so your marketing and your sales. B, refining the operations, so tightening up all of the structures and the systems and the processes and the KPIs and the SOPs. And C, building a team who are capable of running the business for you, embracing delegation. So when is it a good idea to generalize? Okay, so you can expand to having multiple offerings, but in most cases, this is not until you've really mastered the first offer. You really have that first productized service dialed in. You've got bulletproof systems in place. You've got a reliable and predictable customer acquisition process and a capable team who can take full ownership and run the entire process without your direct input. At that point, you can either begin to consider putting your exit strategy in place, or you can bolt on a second offering to the business. So let's look again at some examples. The electrician in this case, they might build out a second crew, a second team of people to focus on CCTV installation packages for homeowners by following the same steps that they used above to develop the home solar energy saver bundle that I mentioned, okay? This can also be productized, so they might call it the Home Safe CCTV bundle, and they can implement value-based pricing, productize it, charge a one-time fee of $8,000, supply and fit. And they can also sell this new offer to the exact same target market as their previous offer, okay? They can sell to their existing customer base, which is always an extremely clever idea because it is cheaper to sell to your existing customer base than it is to generate new customers. Why is this? Because they already know who you are. They already know what you do. They already trust you. They've had experience as a customer of your business before. So a lot of that resistance and objections that you will get from new customers, it's already dealt with. So you should always prioritize providing massive value to your existing customer base rather than focusing all of your energy trying to get new customers, okay? Because it's cheaper and it's easier. Many business owners struggle because they do the exact opposite. They invest heavily into clever marketing campaigns to bring in new sales, but they cut corners when it comes to customer service. So you should aim to over-deliver on your promises to your existing customers, and this might even be something as little as just showing up on time for an appointment. Look after your existing customer base, and it will pay off massively in the long run. And not just in the form of lifetime value of a customer, so the LTV of a customer who will probably purchase from your business multiple times throughout the course of several years, but these satisfied customers that you have prioritized and over-delivered to, they're going to be very happy and they're going to talk about your services. Like I said, they're going to tell their friends, their family, they're going to sing your praises from the rooftop, they're going to leave you positive reviews, testimonials, and so on. And all of this is going to help to grow your business exponentially over time. And it's all free. It costs nothing. Word of mouth is free. In the early stages, if you don't have a large customer base that you can leverage, you're not going to be able to scale a business off word of mouth alone. And that's where paid advertising campaigns come in. Google ads, Meta ads. Paid advertising is one of the fastest ways and the most predictable ways to build out and scale your customer acquisition process. If it's done right, it can completely automate your customer acquisition process. Again, the vehicle detailer might build out a second offering on paint correction for supercars, following the same steps to come up with a productized offering with a catchy name and a value-based pricing model. So they're selling a new service to the same customer base. The digital marketer might build out a second offering to focus on Google ads, also for fashion e-commerce brands. With crafting a second offer that targets the same avatar, they'll be able to sell this new offer to an existing customer base, which will cost $0 to acquire this new customer, as long as you over-deliver on your initial offer. So in this case, so long as the digital marketing agency owner over-delivered on the email marketing offer and they were successful in getting their customer from $50K a month past $100K a month, that customer is going to have a lot of trust in the company and in the service that they provide. And they will likely sign up for the Google Ads offer as well. And they follow the same steps to come up with a productized offering, a catchy name, and a value-based pricing model. The only way to build a scalable and sellable business is to simplify. Document every process step by step and embrace delegation so that you are not just creating a job for yourself. Productizing your service will shift your cash flow cycle from negative to positive. Don't get stuck chasing payments after the work is done. And this is typically what happens with service-based businesses. By productizing your service, typically people pay for products upfront. And if full payment is not possible for whatever reason, well, at least set up a healthy staggered payment structure to maintain a healthy cash flow cycle, or partner with a finance company so that the customer can buy now, pay later, but you get paid upfront immediately and the finance company takes on the risk. And remember, guys, no future buyer will pay top dollar for a chaotic, disorganized mess of a business that just does a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of whatever, with no clear structures in place and a mountain of headaches and a chaotic team who are not responsible or capable or accountable. Buyers want businesses that are simple, well structured, easy to manage, built on clearly documented and repeatable processes, have capable teams in place, and are not owner dependent. The more streamlined your business is, the more valuable and sellable it becomes. So make sure to complete the exercise above and let me know how you get on. Once you do this, you will see your profit margins explode and your operations streamline, all while building a highly sellable business. That's it for this module, guys. I'll see you in the next.